When a third man comes between two sisters, it becomes difficult for them to decide who will fall in love with him. Let's move ahead with the story. The movie begins in a beautiful area far from the city. Here lived two young sisters. The elder sister's name was Julie. Julie had been mute since childhood. She used to sew clothes at home and earn a small amount of money from it. The younger sister's name was Sue. Sue was very smart in her studies and wanted to go to the city to study further. Julie also wanted her sister to study, but because of financial problems, she couldn't afford it. Julie would sew the clothes and Sue would go out to sell them. That day too, Sue was delivering some clothes to a lady to collect payment. After finishing her work, she heard a rickshaw puller announcing that a fair was going to be held in their village. Hearing this, Sue became very happy. That night after dinner, Sue told Julie about the upcoming fair. Both sisters got excited because they loved going to fairs. They danced outside their house with joy. A few days later, the fair finally began. When the two sisters arrived, they were filled with excitement. The fair was huge, with many stalls and rides. It was the first time they had seen such a big event, and they were amazed. While exploring, they noticed a large Ferris wheel. Both wanted to ride it, but they didn't have any money. They stood nearby, watching the ride happily. The man running the ride noticed them. When they came closer, he asked, "Do you want to ride?" Sue replied, "We don't have money." The man smiled and said, "You both are beautiful, and I don't like seeing beautiful girls sad. You can ride for free." He helped them onto the ride himself. The man's name was Roman, and he gave both sisters a free ride. After a while, he stopped the Ferris wheel. While helping them out, his t-shirt got torn. Seeing this, both sisters felt bad. Sue said, "My sister can't speak, but she's really good at sewing. Come to our house tomorrow. She'll fix your shirt." Roman thanked them and the sisters happily left the fair. By the time they left, it was already night. As they walked home, they heard some strange sounds coming from nearby bushes. Curious, they hid and looked through the leaves. They saw a man bathing alone in a pond. Watching him made Sue feel something strange inside her. Just then, the man's girlfriend arrived and the two started seeing them. Julie and Sue became excited but quickly controlled themselves and went home. That night, Julie fell asleep quickly, but Sue couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about what she had seen earlier. Her desires were burning inside her. She was a passionate girl since childhood, and now that fire was rising, and finally fell asleep, relaxed. The next morning, Roman arrived at the sister's house. As soon as Julie saw him, her face lit up with joy. In truth, the very first time she had seen him at the fair, she had already started liking him. Roman had come to get his torn t-shirt fixed. Julie took the t-shirt from him and quietly began stitching it. Roman looked at her, and she looked back at him. There was a quiet connection forming between them. Roman slowly reached out his hand toward her, and Julie didn't stop him. It seemed like both wanted to say something, but just then, Sue walked in. She saw what was happening between them, her would-be brother-in-law's little gestures, but she didn't say a word. After a while, the sisters began showing Roman around their area. Sue told him that their parents had died in an accident and that the two of them had been living alone ever since. Roman shared his own story, and it is that he too was all alone in this world and survived by working at the fair. The sisters realized that Roman, like them, was poor but kind-hearted. Later, the three of them went to a small spot nearby and began preparing food together. Sue playfully teased Roman, knowing very well that something was starting to grow between him and her sister Julie. That night, Roman returned to the fair. Two young men came asking to ride the swing, but Roman turned them away when they refused to pay. Later that night, both sisters came to the fair again. Roman greeted them warmly and began showing them around. After a while, Sue got tired and stopped near one of the rides. Roman took Julie to explore more of the fair, while Sue waited there, watching the lights and music around her. Just then, the manager of the fair, a man named Juan, came up to her. "What are you doing here all alone?" he asked kindly. At first, Sue didn't answer him, but when he told her that he was the fair's manager, she replied that she had come with her sister, who had gone off with Roman. Hearing that, Juan offered to show her around the fair, but Sue refused and started to walk away. Juan didn't give up and followed her. As they were walking, Juan accidentally stepped into a puddle of water, splashing himself. Sue couldn't help but laugh. Her irritation toward him faded instantly. Since Juan was the fair's manager, he took her on several rides for free. Sue laughed and enjoyed herself. She was truly happy for the first time in a long while. After getting off one of the rides, the two sat down near a food stall and started talking. Sue told him about her studies and her dream of continuing her education in the city. A little later, while they were eating, Roman and Julie arrived. Juan greeted Julie politely, then turned to Roman and said, "Take both of them home safely." Juan was Roman's boss, so Roman nodded and agreed without question. question. The next day, Sue got ready and went to the market. As soon as she left, Roman came to Jui's house. He brought some clothes for her to stitch. Tara was alone at home at that time. While he was handing her the clothes, well, you can imagine what happened next. They both ended up swimming together in the pond. That night, both sisters went to the fair, but today they looked sad. When Juan saw them, he walked over and asked the reason for their sadness. Sue told him that she had been accepted into a college in the city, but she didn't have enough money. The admissions would close in a few days. Jui was also sad because she wanted Sue to study, but her poor sister didn't have the money. Hearing this, Juan promised that he would soon find her a job. After Roman left, two other girls came and warned Jui and Sue to stay away from him. This led to an argument between them. Just then, a young man arrived and tried to calm things down. The next day, Roman once again met with Jui and they shared some affectionate moments together. That night, both sisters went back to the fair, which was set to continue for several days. Juan, meanwhile, was involved in shady activities there. He had a few While walking around the fair, Sue ran into Juan. He asked if she could work as a cashier at the fair. Sue needed money, so she agreed. Juan then took her to his room and gave her a sweet little gift, which made Sue very happy. After that, she made Juan happy too. Sue already liked him, so she didn't resist. Later, Juan introduced Sue to two other girls who worked for him and then left. When Sue was with them, one of the girls insulted her and walked away, but her friend told Sue not to take it personally. She'd always had a bad temper. The friend explained that if Sue stayed with them, she could earn money too. Sue knew they all worked for Juan, and she felt lucky to be part of it, though she had no idea what kind of work she would soon be asked to do. Days went by like this. Roman was having fun with the older sister, while his boss, Juan, was spending time with the younger one. Then one night, Juan told Sue that if she wanted to earn more money, she should start from now on, you'll work for me. Next morning, both sisters were doing housework. Seeing Sue looking upset, Jui asked if something was wrong, but Sue brushed it off, saying Juan had given her some work and she had to go that night. Hearing this, Jui suspected that Juan wasn't a good man and told her sister not to go to him. They spent the whole day working as usual. That night, Sue secretly got ready and went to Juan. She sat there sadly until Juan came to her. Next morning, Roman came to the sisters' house. Sue was sitting outside and told him Jui was getting ready. Jui and Roman then went out together. They seemed very happy, spent the whole day having fun, and took the chance to get close to each other. That night, Sue was in Juvan's room and he said something that completely shocked her. Juvan wanted Sue's sister, Jui. Sue refused, but then he said that Roman was pretending to love Jui under his orders. If Sue couldn't convince her sister, Roman would. Hearing the truth about Juvan and Roman left Sue devastated. She had once liked Juvan, but now she hated him deeply. She didn't say anything right then and left quietly. Later that night, when Jui was in her room, Juvan showed up and asked her to make some clothes for him. As Jui took his measurements, Sue suddenly arrived and took her sister away. Once Juvan left, the sisters returned home. Sue didn't tell Jui the full truth, but warned her to stay away from Roman. It was the first time Sue had said something like that, and Jui was shocked. She began to suspect her sister. The next night, Sue got dressed and left the house, but Jui saw her leaving. Following Juvan's orders, Sue had gone to meet Roman, but Jui followed her to the fair and saw. She realized that Roman was also involved with Sue. Both of them had betrayed her. Heartbroken, Jui went back home in tears. The next morning, while Jui was sewing clothes at home, she saw Sue sneaking back inside. Jui didn't say anything, and Sue tried to cover up by saying she had been with Juvan at the fair. Jui handed her a note. It was about Roman. Seeing that, Sue made excuses, saying she wasn't betraying her sister, but Jui now knew the whole truth. She broke down crying and told Sue never to show her face again. Sue tries to convince her sister that Roman is a cheater, but Jui refuses to believe her. Angry, she throws Sue out of the house and tells her to go live with Roman. Both sisters cry a lot. Jui feels betrayed by her sister, not knowing the real truth. Suddenly, Jui begins to realize that it was Roman who betrayed both of them. She takes her sister and heads to the fair. There, she doesn't see Roman but spots one of his men. She asks him where Roman is. When the man goes to call Roman, Juan shows up instead. Jui thinks Juan is a good person, so she approaches him and asks where Roman is. Juan takes her to his room, offers her a glass of water, and tells her to relax. Roman will be there soon. Then Juan starts talking to her about a job at the fair. He gives her a wig to wear, which makes Jui even happier. She has no idea what Juan is really planning to do to her. Later, as Jui is about to leave, Sue stops her and warns her to stay away from the fair. Sue tries to explain everything, but Jui refuses to listen. Since Jui cannot speak, she writes something on a piece of paper and gives it to Sue before walking away. The note says, The girls working at the fair told me everything. Reading the note, Sue becomes lost in thought. Meanwhile, Jui returns home and begins preparing something. She fills several bottles with oil and packs them in a bag. Late that night, when everyone at the fair is asleep, Jui sneaks in and starts pouring oil around the area. Jui has decided to burn the entire fair down because Roman never came to explain himself when she called for him. She is doing all this according to a plan. After spreading oil all around, she pours oil there too and then sets the place on fire. Later, Jui enters another room and finds her sister sleeping there. She wakes her up and takes her outside. There, she discovers the truth. Juan is sleeping right next to it. As they're leaving, Sue goes back inside to grab some money. Just as she's about to leave, Juan wakes up and tries to snatch the bag from her. At that moment, Jui arrives and takes control of the situation. She sets the place ablaze and both sisters escape together. A short while later, the police arrive at the scene. The sisters watch from a distance, crying. Jui had burned down the fair so that everyone would believe Roman and Juan had died in the fire, and no one would suspect Sue. When the police question one of the girls from the fair, she says it was just an accident. No one suspects the sisters. In the final scene, both sisters are walking toward the city. Sue plans to continue her studies there, and with that, the story comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video.